Good evening, everyone. Today I thought it might be relaxing if I brought you along on some household chores, starting with laundry. Be sure to remove all belts and accessories, and remove all loose change and items from pockets before continuing to the wash. I love the stillness of the bubbles on the glass amidst the spinning of the actual machine itself. Do you like bubbles? On to the dryer we go. And you watch it spin, spin, spin. And that's washing complete. We move on to the folding. Wikipedia says that laundry refers to the washing of clothing and other textiles. Laundry processes are often done in a room reserved for that process. In an individual home, this is referred to as a laundry room or utility room. An apartment building or student hall of residence may have a shared laundry facility. A standalone business is referred to as a self-service laundry, laundrette in British English, or laundromat in American English. The material that is being washed or has been laundered is also generally referred to as laundry. When I do laundry, I like to do it all in one sitting. Wash, dry, fold. Try to get it done as quickly as possible. For a couple of reasons, I wasn't able to do live sound while I was folding this part. But don't worry, I have some towel noises coming up for you. Wikipedia also says that laundry has been part of history since humans began to wear clothes, since the method by which different cultures have dealt with this universal human need are of interest to several branches of scholarship. Laundry work has been traditionally highly gendered, with the responsibility in most cultures falling to women, known as laundresses or washerwomen. The Industrial Revolution gradually led to mechanized solutions to laundry work, notably the washing machine and later the tumble dryer. Laundry, like cooking and childcare, is done both at home and by commercial establishments outside the home. Some American communities forbid their residents from drying clothes outside, and citizens protesting this have created a right to dry movement. Many homeowners associations and other communities in the United States prohibit residents from using a clothesline outdoors, or limit such use to locations that are not visible from the street or to certain times of day. Other communities, however, expressly prohibit rules that prevent the use of clotheslines. Some organizations have been campaigning against legislation which has outlawed line drying of clothing in public places, especially given the increased greenhouse gas emissions produced by some types of electrical power generation needed to power electric clothes dryers, since dryers can constitute a considerable fraction of a home's total energy usage. Florida, the Sunshine State, is the only state to expressly guarantee a right to dry, although Utah and Hawaii have passed solar rights legislation. A Florida law explicitly states, "No deed restrictions, covenants, or similar binding agreements running with the land shall prohibit or have the effect of prohibiting solar collectors, clotheslines, or other energy devices based on renewable resources from being installed on buildings erected on the lots or parcels covered by the deed restrictions, covenants, or binding agreement." No other state has such clear-cut legislation. Vermont considered a right-to-dry bill in 1999, but it was defeated in the Senate Natural Resources and Energy Committee. The language has been included in a 2007 voluntary energy conservation bill introduced by Senator Dick McCormick. Legislation making it possible for thousands of American families to start using clotheslines in communities where they were formerly banned was passed in Colorado in 2008. In 2009, clothesline legislation was debated in the states of Connecticut, Hawaii, Maryland, Maine, New Hampshire, Nebraska, Oregon, Virginia, and Vermont. Other states are considering similar bills. Similar measures have been introduced in Canada, in particular the province of Ontario. Novice users of modern laundry machines sometimes experience accidental shrinkage of garments, especially when applying heat. For wool garments, this is due to scales on the fibers, which heat and agitation cause to stick together. In cold countries, they dry it with their fireplaces. Others just have many or buy more garments in preparation for winter or cold times. Other fabrics are stretched by mechanical forces during production and can shrink slightly when heated, though to a lesser degree than wool. Some clothes are pre-shrunk to avoid this problem. Another common problem is color bleeding. For example, washing a red shirt with white underwear can result in pink underwear. Often only similar colors are washed together to avoid this problem, which is lessened by cold water and repeated washings. Sometimes this blending of colors is seen as a selling point, as with mattress cloth. Laundry symbols are included on many clothes to help consumers avoid these problems. I hope everyone is enjoying some of these facts and interesting bits of information on laundry from Wikipedia. Hopefully by now you're starting to feel very sleepy and relaxed. And up next I have some live audio recording of some towel folding. Enjoy. With laundry done, it was time to move on to dishes. When it comes to dishwashing, Wikipedia has this to say. Dishwashing, or in British English, washing up, is the process of cleaning cooking utensils, dishes, cutlery, and other items to prevent foodborne illness. This is either achieved by hand in a sink using dishwashing detergent, or by using dishwashers, and may take place in a kitchen, utility room, scullery, or elsewhere. In Britain, to do the washing up also includes to dry and put away. There are cultural divisions over rinsing and drying after washing. Dishwashing is usually done using an implement for the washer to wield, and less done using an automated dishwasher. Commonly used implements include cloths, sponges, brushes, or even steel wool. As fingernails are often more effective than soft implements like cloths at dislodging hard particles, washing simply with the hands is also done and can be effective as well. Dishwashing detergent is also generally used, but bar soap can be used acceptably as well. Rubber gloves are often worn when washing dishes by people who are sensitive to hot water or dishwashing liquids. According to dermatologists, the use of protective gloves is highly recommended whenever working with water and cleaning products, since some chemicals may damage the skin or allergies may develop in some individuals. Dish gloves are also worn by those who simply don't want to touch the old food particles. Many people also wear aprons. A major variation in method is the temperature and state of the water. Asians and Latin Americans usually prefer running water because it is seen as being more hygienic, as the water is not being reused, and usually use cold water. This is practical in environments where hot water is rarely available from the tap, and sinks are perceived as dirty surfaces, essentially a convenient drain. Westerners usually prefer standing hot water. This is practical in environments where hot water is cheaply and easily available, and sinks are perceived as clean surfaces, essentially a bowl with a convenient drainage device. In this method, the sink is usually first filled with dirty dishes, which may have already been rinsed and scraped to remove most food, and hot, soapy water. The detergent is added while the sink is filling with water, so a layer of suds forms at the top. Then the dishes are washed one by one and thoroughly rinsed to remove the grease dislodged by soap and mechanical action, as well as the soap itself. Then placed on a rack to begin drying, or dried and put away immediately by a second person. When the sink is empty, if there are more dishes to be washed, they may be added to the same dishwater, or the sink may be drained and refilled if clean, hot dishwater is desired. In some European countries, the dishes are generally washed in a separate tub placed inside the sink. This practice may have started as a matter of hygiene, as the kitchen sink was the only sink available for all the household water. The clothes were washed in the sink. The water used to wash the floor went down the sink, and so it made sense to separate the dishwater from the sink. There were two other possible reasons. First, kitchen sinks tended to be very large in a time when heating water was considered to be a major household expense. A tub used less water. Second, kitchen sinks were usually made of hard ceramic. Any contact between the sink and plates was likely to cause chips, but a tub could be made of more forgiving material. Using a separate washing up bowl in the sink also provides a place to dispose of unfinished drink, soaking water, etc. Using the gap for disposal of wastewater requires extra vigilance to make sure food particles and other waste are not trapped under the bowl. Where dishes are to be shared among many, such as in restaurants, sanitation is necessary and desirable in order to prevent spread of microorganisms. Most restaurants have a 3-compartment sink, depending on county, country, or state regulations, and use the 3-sink system, washing, rinsing, and sanitizing of dirty dishes, with the first compartment containing a combination of warm water and soap or detergent. Water within the first compartment often needs to be between 95 and 120 degrees Fahrenheit, according to applicable health codes. Most institutions have a dishwashing machine which sanitizes dishes by a final rinse in either very hot water or a chemical sanitizing solution, such as dilute bleach solution. Dishes are placed on large trays and fed onto rollers through the machine. Dishwashers typically exceed 145 degrees Fahrenheit or 63 degrees Celsius and kill all germs, while hand washing reaches temperatures of at most 104 degrees Fahrenheit or 40 degrees Celsius. While not environmentally friendly, the use of bleach is critical to sanitation when large groups are involved. It evaporates completely, it is cheap, and it kills most germs. Cabinets, refrigerators, countertops, and anything else touched by people in a large group setting should be periodically wiped or sprayed with a dilute bleach solution after being washed with soapy water and rinsed in clean water. However, bleach is less effective in the presence of organic debris, so a small amount of food residue can be enough to permit survival of, e.g., salmonella bacteria. Scrubbing, followed by soaking in bleach, is effective at reducing salmonella contamination, but even this method does not completely eliminate salmonella bacteria. In hand washing, plastic brushes with nylon bristles are preferred to washcloths or sponges, which can spread microorganisms. Use of soap or sanitizer is mandatory in washing by hand in public food facilities. In Indonesia, traditionally, dishwashing is done by scrubbing the utensils with wet fabric dipped in scrub ash to scrub away the dirt. The utensils are then rinsed in clean water and hung to drip dry. Scrub ash is specially made by burning wood for dishwashing. So as you may have noticed, the method that I use is hot running water, a sponge, and a brush. And I also use a soap that's meant to hydrate the hands rather than dry them out. I think that's it for washing. Next up, we have drying. Did you know that there were entire cabinets designed for dish drying? Neither did I. Wikipedia says, the dish drying cabinet was originally patented in the USA by Louis R. Krauss in May of 1932. Maju Gibbard independently developed a dish drying cabinet in Finland based on research she and others carried out from 1944 to 1945 in the Finnish Work Efficiency Institute, with the goal of reducing the work involved in dishwashing by making the entire manual drying phase unnecessary. The Finnish Invention Foundation has named it one of the most important Finnish inventions of the millennium. The inspiration for the dish drying cabinet was a Swedish dish drainer holder, which was kept on the counter. Gebhard noticed that most families never used the holder, but instead dried the washed dishes by hand and put them directly into a cabinet or cupboard. Gebhard's idea was to put the dish draining holder in the cabinet above the dishwashing table, so the dishes could drain dry in place. This way, an entire phase of the normal household upkeep could be skipped. According to Gebhard's calculations, the average housewife spent almost 30,000 hours of her life washing and drying dishes. Enzo Gutzeit started producing dish draining closets in 1948. Since 1954, dish draining closets were made of plastic-coated steel wire to help them keep clean. The measurements for the closets were standardized in 1982. The cabinets have an open bottom that allows for the water to drain directly into the sink below. The method used to dry dishes is a subject of much debate, with some people preferring to air dry their dishes and others to towel dry. Air drying is easy to do and quite sanitary, with the downside being that water stains may form on the glass and silverware. Towel drying ensures less to no water stains, but is more work and can be unsanitary if the towel is used for multiple purposes. So the method I use, I like to think of as being the best of both worlds. As I wash, I place the washed dishes on a drying rack to rid them of the bulk of the moisture, and then follow up with towel drying with a clean set of towels used exclusively for drying dishes, and they're washed between each use. What type of drying methods do you like to use? Wikipedia has this to say on housekeeping. While housekeeping can be seen as an objective activity that can be done by either men or women, some people have argued that housekeeping is a site of historical oppression and gender division between men and women. Housekeeping also has a role in maintaining certain parts of the capitalist economy, including the division of home and work life, as well as industries that sell chemicals and household goods. A survey conducted by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics in 2014 came to the result that approximately 43% of men did food preparation or cleanup on any given day, compared with approximately 70% of women. In addition, 20% of men did housekeeping chores, including cleaning and laundry, on any given day, compared to the approximately 50% of women. The Swedish practice of döstädning, literally death cleaning, is a simple living ethic and aesthetic which, while being primarily focused on not burdening those who survive you with your possessions, is also used as a permanent form of householding organization, which secondarily focuses on keeping only those possessions which have strong value. Personally, I don't think there should be gender-specific household chores, and in an ideal world, everyone helps everyone do everything. After all, many hands make the workload light. Did you know that's a quote dating back to the Renaissance era? Dictionary.com says that this proverb was first recorded in English in the early 1300s in a knightly romance known as Sir Bevis of Hampton. It appeared in practically all proverb collections from 1546 onward. Wikipedia has this to say about cutlery. Cutlery includes any hand implement used in preparing, serving, and especially eating food in Western culture. A person who makes or sells cutlery is called a cutler. The city of Sheffield in England has been famous for the production of cutlery since the 17th century, and a train, the Master Cutler, running from Sheffield to London, was named after the industry. Cutlery is more usually known as silverware or flatware in the United States, where cutlery usually means knives and related cutting instruments. Although the term silverware is used irrespective of the material composition of the utensils, the term tableware has come into use to avoid the implication that they are made of silver. The major items of cutlery in Western culture are the knife, fork, and spoon. In recent times, hybrid versions of cutlery have been made combining the functionality of different eating implements, including the spork, a spoon and a fork, the spife, a spoon and a knife, and the nork, a knife and a fork, or the sporf, which combines all three. That about does it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you a very good night.